Good evening, Stock Devils. It's Tuesday night. It's a bit late. We've had a lot to look at. I want to take you through a couple of points on the Dow and the S&P charts, and then into two stocks for tomorrow. First of all, taking a look at the Dow, we had a down day, and we're still 102 points away from the November low. But what's interesting is, although volume was up today, volume was not as great as the larger sell days. As you can see in the mid-November period, back in this section here, including the November lows, we have not yet touched that volume. So while it was close, that volume was well over 2 million, approaching nearly 3 million shares. Today's volume was only about 1.33 million shares, so it was up over Friday, but it didn't even approach the sell-off that occurred late last week, or some of the sell-offs here back in November, October, and in September. And if you look on the one-day chart, one of the things to notice here is the sort of flat line that developed all the way through the majority of the day. Big sell-off at the front end of the day, repeat sell-off at the end of the day, but the middle of the day was fairly tranquil. I mean, it certainly sucks the Dow was down, but it held its ground just below 7,600 for the majority of the day. So be interesting to see again if we get a sell-off right at the beginning of the day tomorrow, and if we break through that November low. If not, we may be able to see a nice little bounce back up tomorrow. Even though the end of the day was a downslide, it's still, there's still a lot of action right on that 7,600. So hopefully that's a new support line that we can get back up above and try to rebuild. But let's take a quick look at our two picks for tomorrow, and then we'll take just a quick look at the S&P. This is the first one. We have a buy limit order in tomorrow on this stock, Enzon Pharmaceuticals. Our buy limit is right at today's close, 655. Key reason for this stock is this very lengthy basing period that's taken place since the beginning of December. We had a breakout here. The stock traded in a nice thin range, about $1 range there for 40 some days before breaking up again and then consolidating back down, with the last 2 days being two down days based on the market. So there are some good technical indicators for picking this stock up and looking for it to pick up to this high here in the 745, somewhere in that range, so about $1 a share. So we're taking our long position at 655. Again, sucks to swim against the tide, but we're not short sellers, so we have to look for long opportunities when we can get them. Our second stock of the day is a repeat from yesterday. Cinta Pharmaceuticals is still in this backward trend, but it's still technically a valid long, trading right in the middle, right in the upper third between its moving averages. So our long position on this is 763 on a buy limit. It held its ground fairly well for the day. I mean, it's still a wide range on the day of 47 cents, but it closed in the upper end of that range, even though it was down for the day, as was pretty much 2/3, I believe, of the market was down today, and it's starting to make or bottom on a significant lows from a stochastics perspective down here. So I like that in the sense that it suggests some upward momentum could be at hand, and that's what we're looking for. Again, 8 to 10%. We don't need much. That's 56 to 63 cents. 56 to 77 cents. to the upside. So if we have an opportunity to grab this tomorrow at about 760 to 763, again on a limit order, that's going to be our goal. Let's take a quick look at the S&P. Interesting thing, the difference between the Dow and the S&P. You'll notice the Dow tight, closed here, opened, and then went down. The S&P actually gapped down today. Yesterday's low was 825 and today's open was 818. So it's a bit unusual, as the S&P had not done that. As you look back through the chart, you don't see any gap downs anywhere in the last 3 months. So although the S&P finished down at the bottom, that's an unusual occurrence given the trading that's been taking place. It's been fairly orderly. That may be a bad sign. So because it gapped down, stayed down, finished at the bottom of the range, and it's on its way to new lows, it still has a good ways to go to get this November low. But because of where it is and because of that gap, there may not really be any good news tomorrow for the S&P 500. So hopefully Cinta and Ensign will be our winners for the day tomorrow. But overall, a lot of stocks are making lows. They're not necessarily making new lows, but they're certainly on the wrong end of the spectrum. No good news. Nothing to really push the market forward. So let's take a look and see what happens with those two stocks tomorrow. Again, other than those two stocks, I would generally recommend we want to stay out of the market unless we see some technical indication that there's a good possibility for a stock to rise and we can take advantage of. So that's the recap for the day. We'll be back tomorrow with Veronica doing the calls for you, the market review and trades for Wednesday into Thursday. Have a good night.